Nationally. There will be guests, and Noah Haswell will have the news of the top and bottom of each hour. And now, here is the host of the show, Frank Sparks.
All right, good morning. Welcome in. It's the third Tuesday of the month. You know what that means. Tom Young's sitting across the table from me. Good morning, Tom.
Hey, good morning.
What be happening?
I worked on this last night, and I'm going to roll everybody's socks down today. We're going to get some real temperature rising and what's going on. I'm going to focus on my 30-foot view. Folks, I'm Tom Young, the financial coach here on WBBP, WMBA. I've authored several books. I have a brand new book that's coming. It's at the printer right now called Jumpstart Your Financial Freedom. It is a must-read book because it sort of has a little bit of everything I talk about throughout the book. And I always talk to people and I says, what's your why? Mm-hmm. You have to have a why to do anything. If I want to save more money, why do I want to save more money? There has to be something there. Otherwise, I'm not going to do it. I may start. It's like resolutions in January, Frank.
Right. Right.
That's the way it goes. And tax season's now over. And this is sort of an offshoot. We started this conversation last month, and I run out of time for all my notes, as I always do, because I got several pages of it here. I want to start our show, as we always do, with a prayer. So we bow our heads. Heavenly Father, thank you for this new morning. Bless our listeners with success, health, and family love. We pray for world peace and the end of conflicts. Guide us with your grace and light today. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
It's funny. I want to talk about the Federal Reserve today. We're going to talk about how people invest money, and it comes back to thinking. I had brought, in the past, I had talked about NESARA GESARA. And I don't know if you remember, NESARA GESARA, that's the National Economic Security and Reformation Act, okay? And what that really means is it's a Control-Alt-Delete. If you know about a computer, what happens to your computer, Frank, when you hit Control-Alt-Delete?
It controls alts and deletes.
It restarts, okay?
Yeah, everything goes back.
And so our America that we've known 250 years, this year is our anniversary, we've made it longer in one concept of government than any other country in the world. And I think we're under attack right now from a lot of different directions. Mm-hmm. I can talk about that, et cetera. If you want to call in today, call in and we'll answer questions and talk about that. But NESARA GESARA was written by a guy back in 1999, and it was a plan for the reorganization of the United States. And I'm going to read a couple of these. Now, this has been out since 1999. I'm going to read a couple of these that are pertinent, and then I'm going to get into the things that I'm talking about, what's actually happening today. In my mind, it relates exactly to what this plan would lay out.
Okay.
Zeroes out all credit card, mortgage, and other bank debt due to illegal banking and government activities. This is the Federal Reserve's worst nightmare. So what do I mean by that, Tom? The Federal Reserve was created in 1913, a banking cartel, and they changed the name to Federal Reserve, but there's nothing federal about it. It's not part of the government in any way, shape, or form. And this new Warsh guy that's going to be in charge, I think, is part of the bigger plan of what's going on. And if you go to usdebtclock.org, and I've said this before, usdebtclock.org, when you go to that screen that has all those numbers and that moving around, the current debt of the government, the taxes being collected, we're going to talk a little bit about that today. But up in the upper right-hand corner of that page, you'll see a PDF up there. You want to open it up, read it or print it out. There's about 44 pages in there, and I've got a bunch of them with me today, which is going to talk about and central in to what I'm going to talk about, the Federal Reserve. Now, how does all of this impact you and I? That's the purpose of my discussion today. Number two, abolishes the income tax. Now, if you don't think that Trump is trying to eliminate income tax, you're missing the boat. If you've got Trump derangement syndrome, please pray for a healing so you can actually see what's going on in the world. The tariffs and national sales tax and the new USA Treasury currency. Did you hear that, folks? USA Treasury currency. That is going to be backed by the assets of the U.S. government, gold, silver, and fixed assets of the U.S. government. There's been several social media. Ricker is one of the guys, and you can find it on there, and he talks about the $150 trillion trust that supposedly exists in America. Well, I'm going to tell you it does, and you know what it's made up of? All the buildings and land. There's a couple of states out west where the federal government owns like 70, 80% of the entire state.
Wow.
So the assets are there, but they have been mismanaged by politicians that have no clue on how to run a business and what's going on out there. So we got to be important. Okay, the next one abolishes the IRS. Employees of the IRS are transferred to the U.S. Treasury National Sales Tax Area. Ooh. Creates a 14% flat, non-essential, new items only sales tax revenue for the government, on and on and on. Establishes new presidential and congressional elections within 120 days. So Nasara Jassara is a military takeover. In other words, the military steps in and immediately all the lies are stopped, all the news media that is misleading, all of it's stopped. Control-Alt-Delete of the U.S., and we start over again. Creates a new U.S. Treasury, rainbow currency backed by gold, silver, platinum, precious metals, ending the bankruptcy of the United States initiated by Franklin Roosevelt in 1933.
So how would Bitcoin play a role in all this? Because obviously that's going to be the way of the
Crypto,
future.
There was legislation right now in the Senate about cryptocurrency, and I can't think of the name of the legislation. The Something Secure Act, okay, is part of the name. But really what it does is it takes capital gains away from gold, silver, crypto. Crypto is going to be recognized as a currency. You said it yourself, Frank. Mm-hmm. There's a Bitcoin machine, a cryptocurrency machine in New Brighton. Yep. And where was the one you found?
There's one in Beaver, too.
There's one. Okay, so these machines are starting to show up, where you can use cryptocurrency and turn it in, and you can buy cryptocurrency through these machines. So do you think this is happening because of happenstance? You know, let's go up to the 30,000-foot view and look down on what's going on. So all of these little pieces. So you've just spread out 1,000-piece jigsaw puzzle on your big table, and you're fighting to roll them over so they're face up. And the box doesn't have a picture, Frank. Mm-hmm. How easy is it going to be to put this puzzle together if there's no picture on the box that will tell you what it looks like? Now, What I'm going to try to do today, in my opinion, my 30,000-foot view, I'm going to try to create for you the picture that I see and what I see coming and what I see going to happen.
All right, it's called the Clarity
Act. You may not all
Act.
like what I'm going to say today, and I'm sorry for that, but all I'm doing is speaking from my own research. Mm-hmm. And if you want to know where the research is, I will state that along the way. Do your own research. This is factual information that exists out there, but you got to know what you're looking for, and you got to the one software. I'll think of the name, but my brain's going 10 different directions right now. Telegram. Telegram. Okay. The social media Telegram. That you don't want to go there. I'm going to tell you that right now. You don't want to go there, because I go there and I get frustrated and I cancel it. I go back and I cancel it. But all of this hype and stuff that's going on. Now, you have to realize, folks, that there are actors around the world, from China to Russia to North Korea to Iran, where people are as smart with their computer as we think they are. Right. And a lot of this information is being emanated by these people. Their goal is to create turmoil and uproar in the American society. And the more they can do that, the more vulnerable we become in the long run. If we don't get control of this and get it turned around, we are getting more and more vulnerable. Yesterday in the news, there was two young men, a 17-year-old and an 18-year-old, in a mosque in California. Now, I'm not going to talk about Muslims today. I have my opinion where the Muslim, I've never read the Quran. I don't plan to, and I'm not going to change. And I don't believe they have the right to come here and create their own little communities with Sharia law and the stuff that's happening right now across America. But there is so much negative about the Muslims. And all of the terrorists have always been Muslim. The countries that have been in trouble and causing problems are Muslim countries, and on and on and on. So who wouldn't think that sooner or later, now just like people are mesmerized about Donald Trump, DJ Trump syndrome, that they want to assassinate the president, they do all the things they do because of the political rhetoric out there. So if there's all this negative rhetoric about Muslims, I guess there would be people that would have their mind in a way where they would be willing to go and attack and do something to Muslim people. So this is the trend that we're in right now in America. And a lot of this, there's a billionaire who lives in Beijing in China that is funding a lot of the riots and the things that are going on across the country. You have to realize there are outside forces that are causing these things to happen in America for the purpose of taking down the United States of America. So in my mind, the only answer to stop what is happening is this Nassara-Jassara plan where the military take over, everything stops, and within 120 days we do new elections, and you got to prove citizenship. You got to be a member of the United States of America to vote. The SAFE Act has to pass in Congress and the Senate. This has to happen. So that will assure us that there won't be any more funny business in the elections. And if you don't believe there was funny business in the elections, go look some stuff up. It's out there. It's out there. Now, let me go from there, and I want to talk about inflation, the stock market. I brought a piece of paper. I collect news articles, and this is my 50th year in the financial services business, folks. And I have these articles from 30, 40 years ago in bankers' boxes. When they come out, I saved them. And this particular article, why did I save it? Standard & Poor's action. Fund firm leakage could drain market, end of M&A slump, lets bankers smile again, and stock slips again as some investors lose enthusiasm. Now, the important thing of this is down on the bottom, this is September of 2003. Frank, the stock market, the Dow Industrial was 9,737, and it's hit 50,000 this year. So in 23 years, that's an average annual compound rate of return of 7.37%. Mm-hmm. The Standard & Poor's in 1903 was $1,046. It's now $7,403. That's a compounded interest rate of 8.88%. The NASDAQ, that's all the computers, the NASDAQ, right. Okay? You know what it was in 1903? The NASDAQ was 1930. It is now 26,090.
Wow.
That's an annual compounded rate of return of 11.99%. Now, I say this from opinion, from people I've met. Nobody has achieved any of these rates of return because they're out of balance. Why is that, Tom? These rates of return, in other words, if you'd have put money in these accounts at that time and didn't do anything since then, just leave it sit there and ignore it, that's your rate of return you would have on your money today. So that is astounding to have that kind of rate of return. But why aren't people getting that rate of return? Because I find very few people that I have met that have stock portfolios. Oh, I made 50. I talked to somebody yesterday. They made 15% this year. I would hope you have, because the market this year has hit the top dozens of times across the Standard & Poor's, the NASDAQ, and the other one. And it's crazy. So now why aren't people getting these rates of return? Because of emotions, Frank. because of human nature. You know, we talked about Nelson Nash and the human nature fact that we all face. You know, use it or lose it is one. Perpetuate to consume. It just, these things are there. The Willie Sutton law, wherever money is stored, somebody's going to steal it. And that's what the Federal Reserve is a crime syndicate. I don't care, folks. That's what I call it. It's a crime syndicate. They were created as a bunch of old fat bankers and rich businessmen in order to control the currency, and they're the only people that can legally print money. Let me say that again. They're only the people who can legally print money, which has led to the problems that we're having right now in this country. So doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results, I think there's something we can call that. You know, if you do the same thing over and over again and you expect a different result, it's different. My approach finds money for people they're losing unknowingly and unnecessarily and help them to create discipline to control it and make money out of that. 5 areas of losing strategies is mortgages, taxable accounts, qualified plans, college planning, and capital purchases. Let me touch on college planning for a minute. I believe that there should be a class. Attorneys, listen to me out there. You guys that are ambulance chasers and class action lawsuit lawyers, where is the class action lawsuit against colleges that have literally billions of dollars in their endowment? Billions in their endowments. And they act like they're broke. And a young man goes off to college, and you go to pick out your college, and you go see the counselor at college and says, okay, what do you want to do? Oh, I want to be a basket weaver, okay, whatever. And okay, this is going to cost you 4 years. It's going to cost you $80,000. So at the end of 4 years, you have student loans of $80,000. Well, how are you going to pay that back making the wage of a basket weaver? So these people are not being honest with young people coming into colleges, hoping for some kind of degree that will make them a living over their lifetime. And you know, you can go to usgov.org and look in there at employment and occupations, and you can look and see what the average occupation makes. And if you're going to have 60, 80, 100, 150,000 of student loans, how the heck are you going to pay for it?
Right.
We're going to take a break right there and come back and get into the Federal Reserve. Back after the news.
Put freedom in your future. Freedom United Federal Credit Union in Rochester.
Enjoy cruising all summer long. Before you hit the road for your next adventure, come into Moon Honda for amazing deals on our full lineup of new vehicles. Right now is the perfect time to buy. Already love your ride? Our service department's committed to keeping you on the road with express service and expert maintenance. From quick oil changes to major repairs, we're here when you need us most. Let us exceed your expectations. Visit us today or click and save at moonhonda.com. Moon Honda, where friends send friends.
J. Young Refuse and Industry is proud to be an integral part of Beaver County for the past 37 years. Featuring a wide range of recycling services for contracted areas, they are sure to help you get the job done. The J. Young Refuse team of professional drivers consistently exceed safety and service throughout the day, while their customer service representatives take professionalism to the next level. J. Young Refuse and Industry salutes our veterans for the freedoms we enjoy.
Happy Memorial Day from McGee Heating and Air Conditioning in Aliquippa. Today, we remember and honor all who have served or are actively serving. Thank you, veterans. Be sure to thank a veteran close to you today and every day. Take this day to reflect, honor, and remember that freedom is not free. And remember your friends at McGee Heating and Air Conditioning in Aliquippa for all your heating and cooling needs. McGee is happy and proud to sponsor this year's Memorial Day Parade in downtown Beaver. Call 724-375-5181 for repair or free estimate today.
Start your day with breakfast at McDonald's. Enjoy their 2 for $5 sausage egg McMuffin. Whether you're on your way to work or on your way to school, McDonald's has the right breakfast for you. McDonald's breakfast. I'm loving it.
Put freedom in your future. Freedom United Federal Credit Union in Rochester.
If you own a company or a small business, you might have considered advertising on radio. It's smart because radio is still the most far-reaching media outlet today. WBVP and WMBA can get you results. Get more information at beavercountyradio.com.
Hey, Bill, what's going on? I haven't seen you here in a long time.
Well, my mom can't stay at home any longer, and I've been trying to figure out what the best placement options are for her. There's so much to consider. Location, cost, eligibility, payment options, services. It's confusing and time-consuming.
When my dad was having the same issues, I called Charlie Jenkins. Charlie is a local independent senior living advisor who will help you navigate through all those questions. She was able to explore options that fit our preferences and met my dad's needs within his budget. Her business name is C. Jenkins Placement Services, and it was exactly the one-stop shop I needed. Once we took care of getting Dad set up in the right place, Charlie's business coordinated everything I needed to get Dad's home in shape to sell. It was a huge relief having all that managed, especially with my long work hours. She also offers a no-obligation consultation.
Really? How can I get a hold of Charlie?
You can call or text Charlie at 724-714-1774 or email her at cjenkinsplacesforyou@gmail.com.
Wow, I'm going to give C. Jenkins Placement Services a call right now.
Lessons learned for day are paying off. I'm Kyle Rickey. That story next on NASCAR Hot Pass.
And all the veterans and those that are serving today.
The engines roar. The crowd screams. And the day is set to perfect.
Freedom is not free.
Celebration of life, liberty, and the pursuit of speed. That's why we stand with pride and reverence to celebrate the men and women whose sacrifice and commitment makes our pursuit possible. NASCAR salutes together with Coca-Cola at Charlotte. Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern on Prime.
NASCAR fans, iRacing Studios brings you NASCAR 25. Race hundreds of the biggest stars of the sport on top tracks from Daytona to Sonoma. Start your career in the ARCA Menard Series and work your way up to Cup while managing team members, sponsors, and more. Or compete online with NASCAR fans around the world. NASCAR 25, available on PlayStation, Xbox, and PC. Head to NASCAR25.com to buy now.
After a rough start to the NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts season that saw Corey Day involved in several on-track incidents, the results have shifted in a more positive direction, winning 2 of the last 4 races, including Saturday at Dover Motor Speedway. Day says learning his pacing and the car performance changes over long runs has helped.
I think for me, just learning how to pace my race, save tires, has been a big thing. And yeah, just racecraft. Overall, I think today was the first day that I was really able to, take people's right rears. That's a big thing that I've tried to learn.
Day has moved from 24th to 4th in the O'Reilly Series championship standings over the first 14 races of the season. See more at MRN.com. I'm Kyle Rickey. This is NASCAR Hot Pass on the Motor Racing Network.
Beaver County Radio's news source. 99.3 FM, 1230 WBVP, and beavercountyradio.com. Here's Noah Haswell.
Good morning on this Tuesday, May 19th of 2026. We will have a complete Beaver County radio weather forecast after we take this look at news. The primary elections in Pennsylvania are today. The polls open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. Voters across the Commonwealth will decide primaries for positions including lieutenant governor and for both chambers of the General Assembly. This Monday is Memorial Day, a day where we honor our veterans that have passed away in the line of duty and those that are currently serving. The U.S. Postal Service, all government offices, banks, and some businesses will be closed that day. Local events will take place leading up to the holiday to honor all the heroes that bravely fought to protect our freedom in the United States of America, and a list of them can be found on our website at beavercountyradio.com. PennDOT announced yesterday that all driver license and photo centers, including the full-service center in Harrisburg, will be closed Saturday, May 23rd through Monday, May 25th in observance of the Memorial Day holiday. Customers can still obtain a variety of driver and vehicle products and services online through PennDOT's Driver and Vehicle Services website, including forms, publications, and driver training manuals. You can access that website by going to the link on our website at beavercountyradio.com. Pennsylvania State Police in Newcastle reported that an identity theft investigation is underway in Lawrence County. According to police, troopers were dispatched to Harlansburg Road in Scott Township at about 12:08 p.m. on Saturday. Investigators said an unknown suspect obtained a 56-year-old Newcastle woman's personal information and opened 5 lines of credit in her name. The investigation remains ongoing. Pennsylvania State Police in Pittsburgh reported yesterday that a 29-year-old Cranberry Township woman was charged following a 2-vehicle crash in Ross Township on May 12th. According to police, Allah Al-Jassem was driving on Interstate 279 North near the Bellevue Westview Exit 7 at about 9:46 p.m. when she attempted to change lanes and struck a vehicle driven by 24-year-old Claire Mapes of Slippery Rock. Police said Mapes suffered a possible injury. Al-Jassem was not injured. And Utz Brands Incorporated, a leading U.S. manufacturer of branded salty snacks, will bring its most expansive portfolio yet to the 2026 Sweets and Snacks Expo from May 19th through the 21st at the Las Vegas Convention Center. The company, based in Hanover, Pennsylvania, will be sampling new and flagship products across the Utz Brands portfolio, including Utz, Zapp's, Boulder Canyon, and On the Border Chips and Dips in the exhibit hall at booth number 2219.
Here's the Beaver County forecast.
Today it'll be mostly sunny and breezy with a slight chance of showers and thunderstorms during the day, and then again later in the evening. We'll reach highs of 88 and drop down to lows of 65. And tomorrow, look for cloudy skies with a chance of rain and thunderstorms. Expect highs of 71 and lows of 47. I'm Lisa Marie with your Beaver County weather.
On this Tuesday, May 19th of 2026 at 38 minutes after 10, we've got a temperature of 76 degrees with mostly cloudy skies currently in Beaver County. That's a look at the news for now. I'm Noah Haswell on 99.3 FM, AM 1230 WBVP, 95.7 FM, and 1460 AM WMBA. Also streaming live around the world at beavercountyradio.com.
Hot coffee in the morning and Frank Sparks. Now you're in the fast lane. 99.3 FM, 1230 WBVP, and streaming live on beavercountyradio.com.
It's 10:38. Coming up, we've got the folks from Darlington Days coming in 11 o'clock. But for now, in hour number 1, visiting with Tom Young this morning, making his monthly appearance. And where did we leave off, Tom?
We're just getting into the Federal Reserve.
Okay.
This is the document. You go to the usdebtclock.org on the web. In the upper right-hand corner, you'll see a PDF, a little comic that looks like a cartoon up in the upper right-hand corner, and click on it, and it opens up this 44-page document. Now, this document is it is amazing because I didn't print all of it out. I printed out a bunch of pages. The first thing that I printed the debt clock off. So the debt today is $39.260 trillion. Debt per citizen is $114,188. Debt per taxpayer is $357,000. That's your share, folks, of what the Federal Reserve has created, printing money, loaning it to our federal government. And I don't lay all the blame on the Federal Reserve because we have inept politicians, because we elect them hoping that they're going to go to Washington and maybe change things or fix things. And it's like they go down there and they pour in the Kool-Aid and they become like all the other politicians. That's why they hate Trump so bad, because he is not a politician. The total debt is $107,919 billion. The total interest paid, $6,927,000, and the total revenue of the federal government was $5.46 trillion. So as you can see, this thing is spiraling out of control. It is not going backwards. This new Warsh guy, his philosophy, as I understand it, what I've heard said about him and what he has said, is that he is going to eliminate and move and reduce the Fed balance sheet. Now, that balance sheet is assets. They are bonds, treasuries, mortgage bonds, government bonds that they have purchased with printed money. You know, they print money, they buy bonds from the government, and so they put more cash in circulation. More cash in circulation is the root cause of inflation. It's the Federal Reserve printing money, but it also happens through the banks. If you're a banking customer and you're happy there and you have loans at the bank and all the money that you have in the banks, remember they practice fractional banking. Fractional banking means you put $1,000 in their bank and they're going to pay, you're going to make 7% rate of return on your $1,000. Through the Federal Reserve and the way that operates, and I'm just going to use 10% as a round number, so then they go to the Federal Reserve and $900 is loaned back out, and so forth and so on. So every year, 10% less, so that at the end of 10 years, the banks, through fractional banking, made 43% rate of return on your money and paid you 7%. And that is the Federal Reserve system, fractional banking, because that's all explained in here. Now, there's one here, Bank of England. This is interesting. Debt as money. In England, in 1694, a grand experiment was originated. What if money was converted from something of value to a future obligation, a promise to pay? Blessed by the government, the world would never be the same. Empires cost money and discipline. Needed to maintain among the subjects from the year 1694 to 1763. England piled up massive debt, fighting many conflicts. From 1756 to 1763, they doubled their debt. From 75 million euros to 150 million euros. Now that was a long time ago, and today we're talking about billions and trillions. The experiment worked. Today, with very few exceptions, the world operates as a promise-to-pay system. Money issued as debt created from nothing. The banks have even gotten the world to believe that the unpayable debt and unfunded compounding interest is a security. Interesting. Let's look around the world. You know, from 1919 to 1923, inflation in Germany was 4.2 trillion was the rate of return in inflation in Germany. In China, from 1935 to 1947, 15,000% increase. Argentina, 1975 to 9, we're getting into more years closer, 10,000 pesos per dollar. Russia, from 1991 to 1997, it took 6,000 rubles per dollar, per U.S. dollar. Zimbabwe, this is the good one, 1998 to 2008, 10 billion Zimbabwe dollars, their dollars, equals $1 U.S. dollar. Venezuela, 2013 to 2021, the bolivar, $4 for a dollar in 2013, and in 2021 it was 3 million bolivars. So it just this is going on around the world, folks. This is not going to go away. The Federal Reserve System was established in 1913 as a masterclass financial scheme, an enigma so diabolical and obscure that for over 100 years it has foiled any attempts to decipher its dastardly code of destruction. Founding fathers of deception knew of their plan was the perfect formula to deceive, compromise the politicians of the day, to turn over keys to the magic kingdom of wealth creation. The plan was to create a Ponzi scheme at the highest level, never-ending cycle of debt, interest to trap the American people into a life of servitude, to take from the government its sacred duty to coin money, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to read all this to you, but the point I'm trying to make, folks, is if you do the same thing you've always done, knowledge is something that you learned. Wisdom is the ability to apply that knowledge to your everyday life. If something you thought not to be thought to be true wasn't true, when would you want to know about it? So the things I'm talking about, the money supply, that the feds, they control the amount of capital that's in the marketplace around the world. And if I look from 1960, where there was in 1960 there was 20 billion of capital in the marketplace. In 2025, it's 22 trillion. So do you think they printed any money during this period of time? 20 billion in 1960, 22 trillion in 1925. The dollar, from the origination of the dollar, when the Federal Reserve took over in 1913, the dollar was the value of a dollar. That same dollar today has the equivalent purchasing power of 3 cents.
Wow.
So where did our money go, folks? Where did it go? And here's an example of the Federal Reserve, the debt money multiplier. Again, the money moved in 10 years. You made 7% on the $1,000 you put in the bank. They took that $1,000, turned it into $6,520 and made 25%, while you made 7%. So here's the message today, folks. When we look at everything that we're doing, financially, the things that we deal with, debt, qualified plans, college planning, taxable accounts, capital purchases, mortgages, we have all been taught how to do those a certain way. It's not going to change in 5 minutes or 10 minutes. This NESARA, National Economic Stabilization and Reformation Act, I believe it is slowly being implemented at the current time. But it has to be done incrementally so that people, if tomorrow the National Guard stepped out and you got a message on your emergency broadcast system telling you to sit tight and sit down and stay home for the next 10 days, how would you respond to that? Think about that for a minute. How would you respond to that? All of a sudden there's a 10-day curfew. Don't go out of your house. Stay home for 10 days. While all this happens and gets reset. I don't know how I would handle that, but that's that's what I believe is coming. The hardest labor of all performed by man is that of thinking. E.W. Scripps. You can reach me at First Consultants in Beaver, 724-728-6820, or go to cfo-project.net, get a free book. My book's free on there. Go in there and sign up and get it there. The new book will be out shortly. You want to get Nelson Nash's book, The Infinite Banking Concept, because it's a concept. There's numbers in there and examples, but they're old and they're different than what they would be today, but the concepts have not changed. Are you happy today with the results that you've had in your life? Are you where you want to be today? Doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results, is, as Mr. Spock would say, is illogical. Unique approach finds money for people. This is crazy what's going on. The thing that happened in California yesterday, I don't know how to stand up. I love America. I love what I do. I feel blessed. This is my 50th year of doing this. And I just don't know how to do anything else. Here's an example. You put $100,000 at 5% interest for 30 years. Future value is $432,194 at a 30% tax bracket. Okay? You lost $85,568. And opportunity cost, the interest you could have earned on the taxes you paid, is now your net value in the account is $246,968 after tax, opportunity cost. So after all the taxes are paid, and inflation averaged 3.6% for the last 30 years, your current purchasing power is $101,347. How did you do? You understand what they're doing to us? It's in my mind, it's almost like on purpose. These guys sit in the back room. They have no financial worries like you and I have in any way whatsoever. And we just sit there and watch and don't do anything. We need to call congressmen and senators and tell them that we're angry and we want something fixed. Today's an election day in Pennsylvania in the primary.
Mm-hmm.
I hope you take the time to go vote on people today. I hope you did some research to vote for the people that are have a plan to make a difference and make a change in what's going on. You know, they talk about the Roth IRA versus the qualified plan. If you take a qualified plan, you put money away before tax, and you take a period of time, let's say 20 years, and you take the same amount of money, you pay the tax on it, and then you put it away in an account for 20 years in a Roth, tax-free. So in 20 years, I go back to get my money. The net after-tax value of the IRA is the same value as the Roth. How did I win at that, Frank? How did I win at that? Plus, I gave up control of my money for a long-term period of time. And when I need a capital purchase, I need to replace my car. Where did I go to get the money? I couldn't use this money that I put into these plans.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to go to the bank and borrow. The interest I paid at the bank to use their money carries an opportunity cost. The opportunity cost is lifelong. It never goes away. There's an example that I have done, and where's my little book? Where'd you go?
It's hiding from you.
Huh?
It's hiding from you.
No, it's right here. It's
there you
right
go.
Here, okay? You buy a car, and you're going to pay $25,000 for the car.
Mm-hmm.
Dad's going to co-sign for you, and so it's financed for 60 months at 8% interest. Monthly payment's $507. The interest at 60 months, you paid the bank $5,400 in interest. Had that $5,400 been invested in an account, earning 8%, remember what I said about the stock market?
Yep.
The problem and why reason people don't make money in the stock market is they put money in the market that they really shouldn't put in there because they can't afford to lose it.
Gotcha.
So the emotion of the roller coaster of the movement of the market every day, what do people do, Frank? Oh, get me out, get me out, get me out. So on purpose, they never can win the game. There's the real rates of return that happened in those accounts. So that $5,415 invested at 8% in 50 years would be worth $253,953. So what did your car cost? $253,953 plus $25,000. So it cost you $288,000. That's what that car cost you. You buy another car. 60 months later, that interest, $172,836. So if I did that 10 times over my lifetime, I've now transferred during my one lifetime $770,145. You know how many people I meet in my office that at retirement time actually have $750,000 in savings? Not a lot.
I was going to say, not a whole
Not
bunch.
a lot.
Yeah.
But where did their money go? And to do this, it takes, truly it does take discipline. And I believe that's the biggest thing. The other thing is kids graduating college, they get credit cards. You know, credit cards are easy to get. They give them to college kids. They get out of college, and the average balance is $4,500. Two of them get married, average balance $9,000. So that's 18%. Now, there is no 18% credit cards anymore. They're 20.5. The average credit card's 20.5 now.
Where'd you get that at? Last ones I saw were almost 30.
Well, if you're a day late on a payment, Frank, yes,
yeah.
you're going to have a 28 or 30% interest rate.
Yeah.
Yes.
I take throw out of when you get the junk mail in the mail that comes looking to see what the interest rates are. My wife and I make a big joke about it.
Yep. So the interest you paid, carrying that balance for 40 years, you paid $70,979 in interest.
Wow.
Had that money been invested, that's another $785,371. So that and 770 is $1,550,000.
Wow.
Now, what is that value to the bank? This is the kicker, because remember fractional banking? and what they do with money. Your one credit card, this one family, the bank made $24,501 on your credit card over your lifetime is what you're worth to the bank. Why do you think they're so anxious and quick to give people credit cards?
Exactly.
And what's going on? And those are the numbers.
All right, got about 2 minutes left.
So my challenge, folks, is this. You need to come and sit and talk with me. I'll make you 2 promises. I'm not going to ask you to buy a thing, and there won't be another appointment unless you desire to move forward. But I'm going to share with you some information and examples of why what I do works, how it works. And it is not magic. It is not some crazy mathematical script of any kind. There's no investment magic involved. I do very little of investment money with people. I don't manage money. I have 2 money managers that if you want in the market, I have people that are professional money managers that I connect you with, and they make the decisions and manage the money in active money management way. So here we are. I'm Tom Young. You can find me at 1413 3rd Street in Beaver. You can find me on the internet at 1stconsultantsinc.com. And I do Zoom meetings. More than half of my interviews are Zoom, so you don't have to live in Beaver. I have clients right now in 38 states across the country. So I do a lot of Zoom meetings, and everything that I talk about I can do with a Zoom computer meeting and everything we're doing. So give yourself the opportunity. You know, the defining moment that we all have is the dollar will never be worth more than it is today. By giving up control of your dollar today, you are giving the most valuable dollar that you have to other people. You're in the lowest tax bracket today you will ever be in again. There is no way that they're going to solve the debt. I just have my 30,000-foot view and opinion on how it's going to shake out and how it's going to happen. I can prove to you and show you a lot of documentation where I gain a lot of my information. My wife hollers at me. She says I spend way too much time on the internet following a lot of people that I believe have credentials, and therefore they need to be listened to in their conversation.
All right, buddy.
So that's it for today. 724-728-6820. Give me a call. Love to meet you. God bless everybody.
All right, see you next month.
Luann's Route 68 Food and Spirits in Industry is the place for wing special.